Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Hi, this is Zak Mir with the Christmas Eve edition of the Bulletin Board Heroes here on Share Talk. Starting off with Alba Mineral Resources, where sort of waited a little bit to see whether the rebound was back in place. In fact, the end of day closed back above 0.33. I think that would have been yesterday was enough to do the trick in terms of being a bear trap rebound, and we've also broken this line of resistance from September at 0.5 above that on an end of day close basis, looking for 0.75 at the top of that rising trend channel from the end of August, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, holidays notwithstanding. On to Canadian Overseas, which had its big news the other week. Here we're still waiting for, I suppose, a break of that August resistance line there, maybe around 0.29 on an end of day close basis. If we can get through that, that would hopefully confirm that the shares have enough momentum behind them to hit the top of the August trend channel at 0.6 pence and obviously retest that month's peak. Obviously, if you are an aggressive trader, you would have gone long on the shares off the back of the gap through the 50-day moving average at 0.22 and the consolidation that we've had since then. But now that we are in play above the 50-day line, maybe a break of 0.29 might be worth waiting for. As far as the COVID pharma plays are concerned, maybe the stock at the moment is 4D Pharma. That's broken neckline resistance around the 105 pence level, and while we're above that, looking for hopefully as high as the top of that October broadening triangle that I've drawn around £1.65, hopefully as soon as the end of next month. If you're trying to tighten up that stop loss, maybe £1.10, and the high earlier in the week might do the trick in that respect, but obviously it's quite a wide percentage stop loss. On to a rather more obscure situation, but one which is looking rather strong at the moment. Global Petroleum, about saying that it's looking strong, we're just nestling on this resistance line there from September at 0.8. The view here is at least while we're above the 50-day moving average of 0.75, we could head up towards the top of that September broadening triangle that I've drawn on the daily chart as high as 1.2 pence, and hopefully that will be seen as soon as the end of next month, if we're lucky, I suppose, the momentum is there. iMedia is next, and waited quite a while for this situation after the full storm move through 30 pence that we had at the turn of November. Now it does look as though we've got a proper move to the upside coming up off the back of the break of the September resistance line there at 27 pence. We had the break of the 50-day line before that earlier in the week, but unfortunately the 50-day line was broken before, and there wasn't the follow-through. But hopefully on this occasion, with the trend line break above 27 pence on an end-of-day close, we're looking towards 45 pence at the top of that rising September trend channel, hopefully as soon as the end of next month. Stock which I totally missed, and hopefully other people didn't, but it's worth just having a look at the current technical position here. I suppose that the 2 points to note here are the way that even though there's been a big move already, that June resistance line projection is heading towards £3 as a target over the next 1 to 2 months. Ideally today, there's no end of day close back below yesterday's intraday high at £1.74, although we might have to allow for down to I suppose that's the £1.40 level, which is a former July resistance line projection that was the initial target for the shares. So above 140 up to £3. Ideally, there isn't much price action back below, as I said, yesterday's £1.74 high, but that's a developing situation. Nakama is next, and here pretty fiddly as well. But the good news, I suppose, so far is that after the big spike higher on Tuesday, support has come in roughly where it was expected to come, which is 1.2 pence. That was resistance, rather obscure resistance last December, and that marks the floor of the flag at the moment. There's a February resistance line target here as high as 2.4 pence, and while we're above 1.2 on an end of day close basis, looking for 2.4 hopefully as soon as the end of next month for Nakama. On to Ormond Mining, which starting to bubble up quite nicely now. We've had a good consolidation for the shares over the last couple of months, rather a long time in fact. But we've got a rising trend, rising 50-day line, and the end of day close above that 1.29 pence today could be enough to set the shares off up towards a journey to the top of the October trend channel at 2.1 pence as soon as the end of next month. If you're cautious, maybe you wait for a break of that October resistance line at around 1.5, but with the break of the 50-day line today, it looks as though enough has been done on the upside and only really back below 1.2 pence, and the October price channel floor really delaying the upside scenario. Stock which I've also hesitated on, and maybe I shouldn't have, was Orosur Mining, waiting for it to break really that resistance, neckline resistance at 22.5. Above that on an end of day close basis, hopefully looking towards the top of the rising September trend channel at 45 pence as soon as the end of next month, especially if we get an end of day close today above the 50-day moving average at 24.6 pence. Just a couple of stocks to go now. First is Savannah Energy with the break of that September resistance line at 10.5 pence. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking towards a June resistance line projection as high as 16 pence, hopefully as soon as the end of next month. Finishing off with an encouraging looking situation, Wood Boys. Here we've got break not only of the 200-day moving average at 2.73, but also that November resistance at 2.9. End of day close and a weekly close today above 2.9 could take the shares up to 4 pence as soon as at the end of next month. I suppose actually the target there really up to that particular April resistance line projection up to 4.5 pence by the end of next month, especially while we hold above the 200-day line. That's it from me today. Have a wonderful Christmas and a very prosperous New Year.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.